Test 1 2. It's down. 1 2 1 2. Can I get my mic? More mic. There you go. Try turning down the gain and then move the slider up.
Go ahead and do that.
1 2. Okay. All right, the post is on, or the live stream is going already. So if you want to go ahead and dump that into.
Why is it?
Why is what? Are you joining us on this one?
Check. Literally 20 minutes ago, I checked it, and everything was perfect. Now it's coming up mono. Check 1 2. Talk on yours.
1 2 1 2. Yeah, it's the left side only.
On that freeway.
Oh.
Holy crap.
2019. 2019.
So,
hold on.
I'm doing you this time.
Yes. That sounds so wrong.
Yes, those words were chosen specifically.
I can't hear any music on my headset.
Neither can I.
No music. Whatever you turn.
Ready to go in a minute? Ready to go in a minute?
Yeah. Hey. Hey Chandler. You should start posting videos on here too.
What?
You need to post videos on here too. It's like, but it's all me.
Yeah.
You have one picture. That's it. Hey Jeff, can you turn down my mic? It's really distorting now.
I'll turn mine up just a little bit.
I can't hear Chandler at all.
Check. 1 2 1 2.
Okay.
Check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me now?
1 2. Okay.
Check 1 2.
Do we turn it on in there?
Yeah.
Which one's mine?
Either one or two. Either one or two.
Jeff, but you okay?
There it is.
I'm not gonna touch it anymore.
Don't.
What's going on, folks? It's your man JQ right here on DevTown Radio. It is Geeked Out. Still,
yeah,
that's a bad problem to have. A good problem to have.
Well,
sort of.
He resorted to like 2 o'clock in the morning, sitting there throwing hashtag comments at me.
I know. Night. I saw that. I was trying to sleep. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's how we do it, right?
Yeah, but I'm not an artist.
Oh no, I've been in this.
Okay, yeah.
The office till like 3, 4 in the morning sometimes too.
So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Before we even continue here, let me just make sure that. Oops.
Make sure.
I want to make sure that our audio is okay.
Whatever you said.
Yeah. So we don't have the iPod here or iPad here. So
I have one right there.
Awesome.
Did Ron do it again? Did he like? Is he like absconding with our equipment again?
No, he just forgot to bring it back. That's all.
I'll find you, Ron.
Oh man, so we got a great show for you guys today, as always. We did a whole thing on the convention scene and what Chandler kind of like
how I got into this whole mess.
Yeah, how we got into this whole mess and all that good stuff. So we're gonna make it interesting, and you guys get to know us better. Because all you guys know on YouTube is us just chatting away about comic book stuff and
who are you?
Who are you exactly?
Who are you and what brought you here?
Exactly. So
Okay, I just asked my questions. There you go.
There you go. But yeah, before we do that, let's go give a shout out to our folks here on Facebook.
Yo!
Well, on Facebook and YouTube Live. I'm sorry. So thank you guys for tuning in. That's we're trying to
We can start getting more people following us on YouTube.
more views.
It's a cleaner signal, if I'm correct, isn't it?
Oh, it's so much cleaner.
Yeah.
Well, do that on Facebook, but the caveat with Facebook is that the quality's not that good, or that is copywritten. Then they end your stream like that. And
Wow, didn't know that.
yeah, in the middle of your stream, you'll see it'll.
Well, how do they know?
And it's probably like an algorithm built into the system.
So an algorithm will sit there and listen to the music and go, "Oh, computer recognize that music."
Exactly. So if you ever use Shazam, or if you ever use I use SoundHound to like, let's say you're listening to a song on the radio, right? And they're like, "Oh man, what song is this? I don't know what song this is." You pull up an app song it is and who sang it, and in some instances, if you like, for example, like with SoundHound, I don't know how.
I'm too old for this shit.
So in some instances where it's like, so if you want to just go karaoke away, like in the car while you're driving, you just hit that button, and then like next thing you know,
I just fake it, man. I just fake it. I make my lips move so it looks like sounds like. But
yeah, exactly. Like I'm one of those types too. Like I'm either too lazy to look up lyrics, or I just I don't. I just fake it.
2 new albums last night, and I say new. This is stuff from the 80s, 70s, and 80s. Greatest hits of. It was greatest hits of Loverboy and greatest. And,
man!
And it was Cher. Just stuff I wanted to, because I heard one of the Loverboy songs on the radio, and I thought, I miss listening to that. So on my iPad and on my phone, and really the only time I listened to it was on the plane when I'm traveling. Put the headphones on, just sit back.
So you just download music instead of like.
The Cher album cost me
How much?
$3.99.
Okay, and then how much? What about the Loverboy?
$9.99.
Okay, so I use Spotify, the whole iTunes catalog, millions of songs. So you could set up a playlist and say, okay, I want all of Loverboy's hits here. I want all of Cher's hits here. So
it's too complicated for me.
Oh man. So and before we
Free said thank you. You're welcome, Free.
Before we go, since we're on that whole '80s kick, just to let you know, and you guys are gonna be in New York, unfortunately. I want to let our listeners know that if you guys want to come visit me, it's a themed event. So the whole weekend is all '80s music.
Cool.
So it's gonna be fun.
So I'm hoping someday to be able to make Foodie Fest. They do it what?
Either end of September or beginning of October, but end of April for sure.
Yeah.
Because that falls on the same weekend as my birthday, so like I end up working on my birthday every year.
Well, it's like, give me an example of all comics and stuff like that. And each year they hold an event. Owners and stuff will come in, we'll all get together, and there will be sessions that will go on that will be talking about different parts of the country.
Okay.
They'll have it like in Chicago, which will correspond with C2E2.
Nice.
They'll have it in Baltimore. They're coming back to Las Vegas.
Nice.
And they were in Vegas like 3-4 years ago. And so I saw it, and I looked at dates, and I went, oh, no. And great. It's the same weekend as East Coast Comic Con that we go to, so I got to figure out how to cover both events at the same time. I'm going to be flying all over the place. More of a home sitter than a jet setter at times. I'll tell you, wow. I've actually enjoyed this downtime we've had for the last couple of weeks, but see him Saturday and Sunday, and then probably have to do the same trip the following weekend, and then we leave for Baltimore. Man. So, and then from Baltimore, doing a couple of the legends. There's a show going on in Chicago, Ace. It's called the Ace Comic Con. They have dropped, and this may be one of his only appearances because apparently, I guess his wife is having a baby. And then he's got several film projects lined up. Event, so
consider them lucky.
Yeah, like I said, we end up going to Chicago and doing signings with him and stuff, which is the.
Oh man, I don't envy you. Well, I envy you a little bit, but because you get to travel. But
then I get to come back and get ready for what?
You mentioned Chris Claremont's name in 2 episodes.
Who?
Chris Claremont.
So actually, no. Chris is going to be and he'll be at the Keystone Comic Con this weekend coming up that's in Pennsylvania, and then we'll see him.
I hope to be in New York one of these days. Hopefully next year
Let's hope that we.
I'm basically the head of entertainment for Foodie Fest, so I have to deal with
Baby,
I know.
stuff in your face,
stuffing my face with food.
Jeez.
But I want to get it to the point where all I have to do is just I gotta knock on wood. Let's see what happens.
The only place you were, but we won't talk about that.
I'm all over the place, baby.
We got political yesterday, really. Yeah, this is a non-political show.
Yes.
We will not discuss that kind of stuff here.
So, anyways, that tune in to our show.
Uh-huh.
And they like to tune in and chime away at like the stuff that we talk. I like to hear from everybody else. I like to hear. And I see you're distracted by the man.
Bring my table back. now I'm missing.
I have to use that to install some stuff.
Cool. So, anyways, from people that don't listen to the show regularly.
Yeah.
And
there is a guy that is. Have you seen the question? There's a guy that's been asking a question.
Posted on on Instagram.
I don't know if it was on a post that you did. What did you say?
It's about so it's not necessarily the whole comic book thing. It's about movies and it's entertainment. How do you feel about the struggles of entertainment doors opening a bit wider? That's pretty deep. That is really deep, and I think the basis of this question is coming off the heels of theaters lately. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that. That's more than welcome to come and visit us on the show. So that's an invite, buddy. I know it's a really deep question, and it does
It sounds like a 3-hour.
Being Asian American and being that I have worked in the entertainment industry in entertainment, whether it be music, whether it be movies, it's just tough to come by. And you're either the smart guy that knows how to work on computers, leading man in a romantic comedy, or this
comedies.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even what's his name from the guy who plays. Until that movie came out, you never really saw him in a position like, he's Indian. So
I hate to say I haven't seen him,
but basically, again, it's 70s, 80s, and 80s. All you knew of an Asian American was
okay.
There you go. Call him later. So yeah, going back 70s and 80s, you're looking at martial artists, computer guy. You've seen Goonies, right?
Yeah.
So what was he? Smart kid. Crazy Rich Asians comes out, and it's an all Asian cast. Basically, the life of a rich. That movie alone was huge for the community.
And it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it's a crazy rich family from the Hamptons. Let's say even 10 years ago, you would not see that kind of movie out, right? You would see it would be like the huge thing about it is that it shows Asian values. Such a major thing to.
Well, it's interesting because I know this is watching the news now has to take.
Oh yeah.
And they were saying smart business wise because what he's doing is now, from what I understand, has more movie theaters in it that is becoming as big. If
Money that they're throwing into movies.
They also have. You also consider that they have a larger population than us. They don't have the entertainment base. Look at their government. You have a communist government that's very restrictive. When I was in China, I was in Shanghai back in 2008. It's like, seriously? It was like, you know.
I mean, the same thing with social media. Social media in China is there from being used in the country, So
yeah, well, then let's talk about Google over in political.
Okay, if it's a political thing, then yeah.
Let's face it. It is with what's going on here in the United States with Facebook, and we address the Senate and Google, even though they were asked to be there.
Interesting.
And do your research on that.
So
So I think this is an interesting kind of your Asian background, specifically Filipino.
Yeah.
So in the Philippines?
No, I was born in a little town called Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Harley Davidson country, baby.
She's Texas. The only reason why because I was basically raised in Chicago, but and because my parents who had just moved into town or into the country, and because they didn't have insurance, they went up to my uncle. A couple hours, I believe.
But let me ask you this: what brought them from the Philippines to Chicago?
I mean, let's face it, the Philippines is a third world nation, and opportunity there is not as great as it is here in the United States.
Yeah,
So,
you did. While the U.S. had a presence over there, obviously you had a lot of involvement of U.S. businesses and stuff in the Philippines at that point. So you're right that I think was as a result of having the U.S. military there, it was exposed to what the potentials were in the U.S.
and a person will have his family in the Philippines, right? And they would do a very specialized kind of work. Let's say they're an engineer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot of, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but the person will say, hey, you keep the family here in the Philippines. I will go ahead and travel to, let's say, and a lot of it's usually like Dubai or like one of the rich back home to the Philippines.
Yeah.
And they call those, they call them OFWs, which stands for oversee something worker. I can't think for families to send one person to represent the family. Oh, not really represent, but I mean like somebody to earn the money to go out to.
Yeah, I mean, you have the same situation that goes on with Mexico or my mother when she lived in Los Angeles. Before she moved here, they lived in an area called Hidden Hills, which was a gated community in Southern California on the outskirts of LA. And they had a live-in housekeeper. Her name was Anne. Making because I mean she had a room in the house and everything. She was paid a good wage for what she did and everything. And I think like half the money that she ended up getting paid, she was
Filipinos like they would be like the main ones would be housekeepers, like music and TV and stuff like that.
Which I'm curious, why is that? What is it about?
Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know why they grasp onto because the rest of the Asian, continent basically, to see who had the best entertainment in terms of like let's say singing. Music is a journey. Frontman is somebody that they found in the Philippines.
Really?
Yes. And he sounds almost like Steve Perry.
His name was Steve as well, but I forget what his last name was. And I mean, it was the weirdest thing because you wouldn't have known the difference.
Replacements before they came up on. His name is Arnel Pineda, was the Filipino guy. But it was also even if let's say like Bruno Mars is half Filipino.
Okay.
There's a lot of sports figures that are like part Filipino and everything, but and then they'll like hey look, Bruno Mars, he's Filipino. I'm totally discounting that he's also Puerto Rican, but like that's a Filipino guy right there. So because they hired Arnel, they knew that they're going to bring in all these little the Filipino families.
They're going to bring in a new market.
Exactly. I was living in the Bay Area, and there is a huge concert area called Shoreline Amphitheater, and they had a concert there, and I had there. I didn't go to the concert, but I had to drive through that traffic, and it was crazy because it came from both ends, San Jose and San Francisco.
Okay. So
it's like if you're in San Francisco, it's probably like about 20 minutes south.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the whole thing. It's a lot. Yeah, that's the same thing. So that's how my family came over. I already had family here. I had uncles on my dad, and it's like, hey, you guys should just move over here. Go start your life off because like my parents.
Now, what did your dad do?
My dad was a musician.
You got your.
That's where I got everything from.
Wow.
So my dad would do, and I remember this as a kid. He would actually. It's all online nowadays, right? But back in the day, it was all print.
Now, when you say catalog companies, can you explain what a catalog company is?
So what he would do is, aside from pictures that you would see of the actual product, if it required a diagram,
a book that's being made to
sell parts,
or whatever. See, I wasn't sure because there's also the term catalog you were talking about there.
Yeah. So basically, my dad, that's stuff that my dad would do. And on the side, he would oil paint. So it's a damn shame. But, you know.
Is your dad still here?
No. He passed in 2013.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, a lot in Chicago. Like, he would just, they're like, to be Filipino and a musician means that you have an unlimited resource of making more than what I can count on my hand Filipino bands that have formed here, you know.
Okay.
So that was kind of how I started because, you know, like my dad.
So basically, you went from having a pacifier in your mouth to having a microphone in your mouth.
Yes. They would have, you know, like a big thing in my family would be a jam session. So they, you know, a lot of us in my family are musicians. So, you know, my uncle played drums, my dad would play bass, you know, somebody would play keys, guitar, and then, you know, singer. And they'd all, you know, just jam away, right? You know, music's playing in the background and all that stuff, and, you know. So that was me as a kid.
You had no shyness.
I also remember as a kid in kindergarten, right? You know when Valentine, the box of Valentine's Day cards, and then you would just fill it out. Was that after your time or like?
I don't know.
Oh.
Valentine's Day meant anything to me.
Gotcha. Well,
It's like Valentine's Day. Okay.
Yeah, like it's cardstock. It's really simple stuff, and whatever, you know. My dad, and he drew up, he would cut cardstock, Family Circus. What else was it? And then I would just sign it.
That's cool.
So from that it grew into, he would start teaching me basics. But the thing with my dad, have you heard of that term, Tiger Mom? That's right. And this is not so much for Filipinos, but it is, like, I see it more, didn't have an A+ in your class. Asian mom or dad would go in there and be like, yeah, you're doing it wrong, you know, like
wow.
I mean, it's not so much vicious, but it's
really pressure.
But it's not, you know, it's all because they want their kids to be perfect, right? Do it again. We're gonna do it like 40 times until you get it right. You know, it's not really that way. It's you know, they want you to be successful, right? But they don't really push that. So my dad, right? He wouldn't be like, oh, you're doing it wrong. You know, let's do this again. He'd be like, okay. And it's cool because it's almost like my dad's going to be a doctor, and until that point, all your classes as an artist, he did stuff that he wanted to do. It's not like his job as a musician, and you're gonna, so I do that, and then, like, you know, elementary school would pass, and I'm also, you know, like at the time, I think my first instrument, like a lot of kids, was
like a flute.
Yeah,
but it's not sideways.
Yeah. Writing my own song it made no sense, but it was my first song, and it was because my dad encouraged it. Stuff recorder, obviously, I played piano. I just started saxophone. My dad was also a saxophone player. Older episodes, I started reading comic books at the age of 7. and
I'm thinking I started reading, about 1967.
From that, you know,
you were reading by the time Chris Claremont.
You know, in a very artistic family environment, actually copying stuff. Like, so I was copying stuff like Norm Brayfogle was another one. I did Eastman and Laird, the Ninja Turtle. I copied it so I can get to learn anatomy and all that stuff. You know, the cool comic book artist guys, right? But I wasn't really good at it. I drew a lot.
Yeah.
Same thing. I got into jazz a lot, so I was doing gigs at Gordon Beard. You know, this is another funny story. So jazz artist in town. Well, actually, he even came, you know, to didn't want, because they served alcohol at this place, they didn't want us to go, right? He was like, hey, you know what, guys? So, you know, a couple of music with you, and obviously they didn't pay us, and when we were done, like, we played to sell alcohol, we would have to get escort, and then they would just feed us. That was it on music. So the art stuff, It wasn't my passion at the time because like I was still drawing, or whatever at Image Comics, at the time. But like I started hearing about it. Pushed me a little bit, but I wasn't, like again, music. My anatomy was gotten a lot better, and I started making, like I graduated high school, and in college it was still music. Well, I didn't finish college, obviously. A group that I was singing with, and they called me back and said, and then I was
Musician in the band? Besides,
no.
Okay.
No.
So
business aspect of it. So I had no, through all middle school, throughout high school, college, it was still my thing, Here you go, Ray. Here,
right in the middle of the show.
Right in the middle of the show.
Slam the door while we're at it. Yeah.
Throughout, go play sports or
Pretty much the same way. It's like, you know what?
yeah. So
It doesn't surprise me.
I floated a lot. I had like
I was actually kind of the other way. I don't even know if you, but I also was, but I realized that now because the school I was sending the graduating 8th graders going into 9th grade and 7th graders going into 8th, which was me, with even though I went through my and then went our my class we failing.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, stuff. But as far as sports was concerned, for the most part, I had. You said I didn't float to different cliques and stuff. Right. We kind of sports. I was playing football. I was wrestling. I was playing baseball. So dealing with what was going on with yearbook, and that was pretty much it. That was I saw the people moving from group to group and butterfly guy.
Yeah. So I never really identified with one group of people. We're gonna go over, by the way, because so we're gonna go over probably like another half hour, like we do with you. So, road managing, this singing group. They're basically a major label. There's only very few of them.
I know who they are.
So,
in '90s, I mean, that was
they're iconic.
That was when they were
again the whole comic book thing. And like artists nowadays, like I'm still like I think I still got it. Like I'm drawn whatever. This is everything I did. That like after the world I was doing a 9 to 5, I was as key work. I was in accounting. I was at one point I was
now that came from your mom's side for some reason.
Is a character. She was a pilot. She's here in town actually.
Okay.
So,
English.
Yeah, and then when she was still back with them, traveling the world, doing all that. That's actually how. And I hope I'm getting the story right. As a flight attendant, she would stay at a friend's house.
Okay.
Next thing you know, here I am. My mom, pilot, English, didn't sing a lot. My mom and dad were two different. It's tough to say because which one I got, right? My dad. I did get my mom's height though, because everybody on my dad's side. It was funny because I'm one of the older cousins on my mom's side. I was one of the first ones to grow the tallest. I already like by high school
I was gonna say what happened because you didn't grow.
Cousins though, they all grew. They sprouted. So, anyways, that's my family. Plane flying jokesters. They were all professionals, so they all had in the film. He's not in the military. He's on like judges and lawyers and stuff like that. So,
System.
Yeah, exactly. A retired police captain. But yeah, that. Yeah. So I get my dad's talent. My dad's side of the family run things, especially here at downtown. I get that all from my mom. I'm pretty equal on both ends, So over the years, I was, I would pick up it would still be the same artwork because I didn't have.
You didn't have anything pushing you.
I made my way out here to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And the time the Foodie Fest was going on, and I was booking Foodie Fest. It just so happened that particular day, it just wasn't safe because tents were just flying. We were just chit chatting because we had.
Now, what was Free doing at the time?
So Free he was a DJ, or he is a DJ. He still does work with us as a DJ, and get on stage and do his thing. So Free and I are sitting in my office, and comic books came up. And here I am, like asking about stuff when the movies come out, and like I was kind of 4 years ago.
Okay.
So then, shut up. You have your own comic book? I was like,
All started brewing from the inside of you.
And then I could do, because I was like, hey, Free, what can I do to get out? I mean, I drew people here and there, and one of the things I did the sketch for, but I drew a Nightwing for my nephew. He gets into that. Shout out to...
Wait a minute, it's whose birthday?
It's my nephew's birthday.
Oh, because it's my brother.
It was just, somebody got busy 9 months ago. Like, a lot of people were just...
9 months. No. In the case of my brother.
Nice.
So,
You should be celebrating real good.
Or what? So.
Oh, yeah, see, it never stops. It never stops. So I pulled up a picture that I drew for my nephew. Showed, how come you're not drawing still? Like, come on. Like, I want to have my own book, or let me know. He's like, dude, at that point, my head's just like spinning. Like, oh, dude, I can make this. All this stuff to get it, to put the stuff together. And mechanical pencils and like, I know I got my sketchbooks around here somewhere. So I went home and I just started sketching. What do I create that symbolizes who I am? Just making a story and then try to put it together. There's passion in it.
I understand.
So I said, okay, well, I'm going to do, at that time, I America and how Filipinos in the Philippines live. Not a lot of people know this, but there's a big, almost like an invisible wall between Filipinos and Philippines. It's really, when you look at it, it's really petty. It's not, by no stretch, you're Filipino by blood, like language, you're not Filipino. For myself, growing up, treated Filipino areas, a lot of Filipinos.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the culture and all of that, but I just didn't know how to speak the
lifestyle.
Exactly. That I wasn't Filipino because I couldn't speak the language. I'm just as brown as you are. I'm not going to let you tell me that I am not Filipino. That migrate to the U.S. They're speaking like in their larger English-speaking countries in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
There's also English, right? So, yeah, they would come grown up as a Filipino American, and I didn't. I'm guilty. Like, oh, you're not like exactly. So there's both sides of it. We're all just Filipino. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not like we're all one. That really hit home because like groups that advocate learning about as opposed to just in the U.S. So there's a lot of stuff. Whether Filipino Americans in America back home, talk about Filipinos. At that point, they're probably thinking the same thing that we think when we make fun of them for their accent. But I just believe that we shouldn't be doing that anymore. We got Bruno Mars. Drax is Dave Bautista. So going back to what I wanted, but issues that we have back home. This is Philippines politics, so it's a point or another. For the most, look back on it and say, hey, that was our standard of presidents that we should follow. Family that basically built their family up around that Spanish. That's controlling mayors, stuff like that. That portion of the government, right? So family that was very affluent and don't follow this guy, but Filipinos are they easily influenced by media, especially if your book. I wanted to address that too, expose, but just bring to light. If you look at the book, and I haven't really gotten into
issue out right
now.
now.
So it hasn't moved to it. Is drug use in the Philippines day. Basically, or a known drug distributor turn them in.
Wow. Did he offer a reward too? Declared anarchy. Have you seen that? Is it called not anarchy? What is it? People can kill for this one night.
Oh yeah.
Like the purge.
Yeah. So what they did was they're like, dude, I'm myself in. Now we got Jerry's, right? Mm-hmm. So that I'm starting to input into the Valiente is a Filipino American that was to America. So he was born in the Philippines.
Okay.
So he's got to deal with the government, who is the government has controlled and then in there later. But you'll like when it comes to light, it's gonna be. I mean, this is for
as a result of your heritage.
I'm looking for to reach the Filipinos back home.
Was Picasso.
Oh man,
That had that had influence on.
to drawing and comic books. It was in high school, obviously. This is before the internet, so I couldn't research. Later on, I found out that
Jonah Hex, yes.
he was working for DC at the time, and he had telling DC like, hey, listen, you could pay him cheaply, just blow your mind, right? So there's Tony DeZuniga, and then he did I think I want to say those are the old school guys that really inspired me because they were brought over in the 70s.
Okay, but in other words, they were drawing.
Like if you look at, because like he actually had to dumb down some of it. Like if you look, he did a series and you're involved, right? And the detail was just so deep. It was almost like it was like Roman soldiers and stuff like that. And then like some of those characters he too. So Tony was also responsible for
Say that again.
Wild Orchid. As far as those that were Filipino, now he's like closer to my age. Like I could totally do this. Lineal U industry, it's because of a lot of
People that are working for him in his studio.
Yeah.
Considering the way with these for artists, how it's changed the industry.
Oh yeah.
You want to maintain. He's published and he's able to maintain both of the big publishers and has work.
Yeah, could you imagine like especially if you're living, you had artwork that you had to send back to email to you tonight.
Yeah.
Overall thing, like my motive to be able to look for solutions to real solutions. But I try to do it not. That's my motivation. 10 years to draw 10 books.
So
yeah, definitely. It's different from and probably even just hire a writer to do it for me and then I'll.
I understand. I understand.
And it Marvel decides, okay, we're going to, and they were called the Triumph. They debuted in that one issue, and I can't remember we got about 3-4 minutes left. I want to end it with this. So like, they died in one issue.
Wow.
But they just were like, oh my god. But that.
Well, there you heard it.
That was. You guys now really know me because now my art, all this stuff. It's crazy.
So I guess next we're gonna
and we know his story
and we'll hear the Hawaiian side.
Yeah,
we're gonna hear
all like it's all different. So my lovely story.
Listening to the Filipino and
our show. Let's again we will TV. Follow us on Facebook. So yeah,
and give us messages. If you want to know about things,
the
best we could do is answer you.
Yeah.
So
we're around. You'll find us. Peace.
Geeked Out.